My name is Steve Paine. I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine, specializing in treatment of athletes, both adventure athletes and the whole range of athletes. Adventure racing is really growing by leaps and bounds. It's probably the most popular new form of athleticism. One has to start very early to get prepared to ensure that you don't run into problems. Often new adventure racers and people new to long distance and endurance training remark that their legs are very sore, particularly. There's a couple of reasons for that. In order to exercise and recover well without pain, you have to have adequate stores of glycogen in the body. The body runs on glycogen stores in the muscles and on the fat stores of glycogen, the excess stores of glycogen, which are stored in the fat. So carbs are the substrate, the initial product which yields the greatest amount of glucose. The long story short is that people need to accentuate the consumption of fruits, vegetables, healthy foods, healthy grains, which over time give adequate stores of glycogen to run the body. So it's typically those folks who are paying inadequate attention to their nutrition who run into the greatest muscle pain problems and the greatest problems of recovery days on down the road. The most important phase of preparing for a proper recovery and proper performance, and that's consumption of water and electrolytes. Many people report that they have problems with nausea, with vomiting, with muscle soreness, and much of that is a result of not having enough water and particularly enough electrolytes. Electrolytes are calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium, which act as electrical conductors in the body. And if you don't have those in adequate supplies, your body can't function well and your mind can't function well. By keeping adequate stores of that, about a third of a tablespoon per gallon, you can eliminate that problem. So what makes a lot of sense is to make sure that your salt stores particularly are adequate. So if you're going to be snacking, have things like pretzels and salted almonds and olives, which contain enough magnesium and salt particularly, and realize that you can sweat out a whole day's supply of sodium in about an hour on a hot day. The key issue for any adventure racer is to make sure you have adequate hydration and avoid that temptation not to keep the Camelback full or to grab water when you go by a station merely because you're not thirsty. Sometimes that thirst cannot always be a good indicator. So try to have at least 2 quarts per hour with an adequate salt and you're probably in very good shape.